I want to talk about embracing your journey and overcoming the impatience that you can have in the process. Now, a lot of people have a point of conflict that leads them into a search for something different, whether it's I have a conflict in the job I'm in, a conflict in the relationship I'm in, a conflict in what I thought was going to be my future, but it is no more because something tragic happened. And that leads you into a search for something different. That leads you on a journey to something new, to try and find the solution, the next job, the next place to live, the next relationship, or maybe it's work within. And when you start on that journey, the temptation, and it is a temptation, is to become impatient in the process. And one thing that's really helped me in my health journey, for example, is I got tired of being tired, and I wanted to find solutions, immediate solutions, to resolve my low energy, chronic fatigue, and all kinds of other things that were happening. But something I had to realize is that, yes, God is sovereign, but realistically, I cannot change 10 years of poor decisions in 10 days, or even 10 months, or maybe even 10 years. And I have to change my perspective on the timeline of the journey I'm on. You know, for me, I used to be much more of like a rip the Band-Aid off guy. And what that means is I guess if you are that way, you know what that means. But what that means is I would look for solutions fast, just boom, 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 boom. And that's partly my personality and also partly a response to trauma in my life where I just couldn't deal with pain, emotional discomfort, difficulty. It just made me uncomfortable, so I wanted to move out of it as quickly as possible. So anytime I reached that point of conflict, inner conflict, conflict in relationship, conflict, you insert the blank, I just wanted to figure it out and get out and, move on to the next thing. But when you go on the wholeness journey, the healing journey, the changing, growing journey, that journey is much longer than one decision. It's much longer, much bigger than the career transition, than the next relationship, right? It's much longer. It's much longer than the right health fix. Because as soon as you address one thing, I can promise you there will be another thing. In the Bible it says our bodies are wasting away, but inwardly we're being renewed day by day. What that means is, hey, we're getting older and our bodies, just sincerely, I'm very much a believer in the process of de-aging and lengthening telomeres, if you know what those are. I'm very much in the process of trying to navigate, how to be healthier as I get older. And at the same time, there are just certain things that we cannot escape. And so, for me, what I have to do is kind of put myself on the path of just engaging in the process and trying to get better in my process. And that's one way that I overcome the temptation of impatience, and that's one way that I embrace the journey. Now it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's a mindset for me. It is the changes I want to make and the things I want to do here in life, these are not like one day things. And I have to fight that, because for years I had a fatalistic mindset because I'd experienced so much loss in different ways. And, I'm just coming out of that, frankly. I'm like just coming out of that space in my mind to try and really be in the place where I can say in many areas of life, not just one, not just two, but in many areas of life, ideally all areas of life, I'm thinking longer term, I'm thinking eternal perspective, because the enemy wants you to think in short term. If you think about it, it's like, how do you get yourself into trouble more often than not? You make short-term decisions, or you have decisions with short-term thinking. The enemy wants you to think that way. And, the Lord in the kingdom, it's eternal, right? And that's the idea of storing up your treasures in heaven. It's like this life is temporary. And so we want to be thinking with an eternal mindset. And when I'm engaging and doing things that are aligned with my purpose, one of my purposes, and just sharing content like this, for example, I'm thinking, okay, are there people that need to hear this? Yes, there's at least one. And will that person be impacted more than just in this moment? Could this change their trajectory? Possibly. And so for me, to jump to, all right, well, I'm not getting the results that I'm getting in this thing or that thing, is going to really be defeating. Instead, I want to be thinking, and for me, I'm just speaking about my process. Instead, I want to be thinking, okay, am I getting better at the process? Am I getting better at engaging with the process, even when I don't want to, when I can make the choice to, but don't want to? And yes, over time, you want to observe signals. You want to observe and see, okay, are results that I'm, hoping to see coming to fruition? Yes, you want to observe that. But for me, when I think more eternally, I trust that those results are happening even if I can't see them. And that is a total shift. That is a total shift for me. And, even just I've become way more open-handed with how I offer what I have to the world. And like I think about even just like I'm doing this Give Any Gift boot camp. I'm like, oh my gosh, people have paid thousands of dollars for something and I'm doing it for Give Any Gift. Will people value it? Will people get the most out of the experience? And I really just had this conversation with the Lord where I'm going, it's really not up to me. I have to let that go. And for somebody who lived a boundaryless life for so long, for somebody who needed to learn how to set boundaries, I kind of made the mistake. It's not a bad thing, but I made a mistake of like just setting my boundaries out here, where it's like, okay, if you want to talk to me, we're not getting a coffee, we got to schedule a phone call, that kind of thing. Because I just spent years of just like doing the whole, like I have no boundaries with anything, with my physical body, with money, with my energy, with my calendar. And so I had to kind of set them way out here. And then now over time, it's kind of been like, okay, my capacity's grown and my boundaries might have been too far out. I need to bring them in a little bit and just allow people some opportunity to engage and interact. And frankly, because I'd set my boundaries so far out, I'd really done a good job isolating. And that wasn't healthy. And so the Lord's been helping me see some of these changes. And as a result, I've been more open-handed and understanding because I'm more confident in who I am based on my perspective of how God sees me. I'm more confident in boundaries. I therefore can also be a little bit more confident in being open-handed with things. And I'm less tempted by impatience, and I'm way more open to embracing the journey. I'm way more focused on just engaging with the process daily. And that process can look different for everybody. I've mentioned a few things: career, health, relationships. Those are big ones, purpose. But if you find yourself in that place where you're hitting a conflict in your life, and it's causing you to really decide, okay, something has to change. I'm going to go out on the journey. Well, recognize that there are other people who have gone before you, and you can learn from them. Recognize that the Lord knows everything. And when you have access to Him, I mean, my gosh, like what more do you need? But He makes His perfect love made possible through people. And so getting to know more about the Lord and being led by Him into interactions with the right people, iron sharpening iron relationships, and, extending your timeline and seeing, wow, like this may not be like a 1-year thing, a 1-month thing, definitely not a 1-day thing. This may be like a 1,000-year thing, a generational thing. And the Lord started speaking to me about that back in 2016, about generational. And I just didn't understand. But now, after going through so much healing and changing and growing and seeing so much of stuff I had to come out of and perspective that needed to change, I really am starting to understand what He means when when we think about, eternal things. And I think that that'll help somebody. I think that that'll help people who are on the journey, who are wrestling with that temptation of impatience, and want to instead be more embracing. Recognize that conflict is a signal. It's not a conclusion about how you're going to live the rest of your life. Now, if you don't change, well, that's different. But if you're experiencing that conflict, going out on your search, there's people who've gone before you on that search, whether it's your health awakening, money awakening, spiritual awakening, career awakening, identity awakening. These are things I've been through, and there's a lot more. I know there's a lot more. I didn't even include relational awakenings, So for you guys who are just on the journey, my message to you is, extend your timeline. Get around the right people. Recognize that this is not going to be it's not going to be an all or nothing, now or never kind of moment. There's very few moments like that in life. There's very few moments. And just begin embracing the process and engaging with the process daily. And get around people that can help you engage in a healthy way. Because there are people engaging in the process, but they're doing it from a really unhealthy perspective. And as long as you keep searching and just following Jesus, I believe you're going to find exactly what you need for that next step and the next step and the next step. And the confidence comes through taking the steps. The confidence comes through taking the steps. And before you know it, results start to happen. So I hope that message lands for you. And just share this with somebody if you think they need to hear it.